The Bible is a sacred book, not only the foundation of faith for billions of people around the world, but also a treasure trove of history, prescience, and ethics. Over the years, the Bible's content has been addressed from many different perspectives, reflecting the religious, cultural, and even ethnic perspectives of each period. Although the Bible does not divide races in the modern sense, some scholars and researchers still find interesting insights into the origins and roles of different ethnic groups, including white people. Stories about the first descendants, the first prophecies, as well as the emergence of major empires in history have raised the question: do white caretakers have a special place in the Bible? Are they descendants of one of the main branches of humanity after the Great Flood? Or what role do they have in God's original plan? Here are 7 fascinating mysteries related to white people in the Bible that help us better understand their history and role in the religious landscape. The first mystery: Japheth, the father of European nations. After the Great Flood, Noah and his family were the only survivors, blessed by God to restore order to the world. The Bible records that Noah's 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, became the ancestors of the nations of the world. Among them, Japheth is considered the father of many Western nations, playing a special role in the development of European civilization. According to Genesis 10:5, Japheth had 7 sons, and they were the ancestors of many later nations. Gomer, believed to be the ancestors of the Celts and Gauls, important ethnic groups in Western Europe. Magog, a mysterious people, possibly related to the northern tribes, such as the Scythians or the Vikings. Medes, ancestors of the Medes, a people who lived in what is now Iran. Javan, identified as the ancestors of the Greeks. Tubal, Meshech, and Tiara, believed to be the ancestors of several tribes in Europe and Asia Minor, possibly related to the Thracians and some ethnic groups in Eastern Europe. The Bible also emphasizes that the descendants of Japheth spread out over many lands, suggesting that they tended to expand their territory and migrate farther than their brothers. The name Japheth in Hebrew means to expand or to grow. This is important, as it is linked to Noah's blessing to his son after the flood. May God enlarge Japheth and make him dwell in the tents of Shem. Genesis 9:27. This blessing has been interpreted in several ways. The descendants of Japheth would expand their territory, inhabiting many different lands, especially Europe and its surrounding areas. They would have a connection to the descendants of Shem. That is, they would have access to God's blessings for the Israelites, or influence their religion. Some scholars have suggested that this may be linked to the spread of Christianity throughout Europe, as Europeans, supposedly descendants of Japheth, adopted the faith from the Jews, descendants of Shem, and then spread it throughout the world. Because Japheth's descendants are recorded as having migrated to Europe, Asia Minor, and the Caucasus, many scholars believe that they may have been the ancestors of the Caucasian people. Some of the main reasons for this hypothesis include Greeks and Romans, the 2 great civilizations of the West, descended from Japheth's son. Javan, the Scythians, a white nomadic warrior group in Central Asia and Eastern Europe, may have descended from Magog. The rise of Western empires, such as the British Empire, the Roman Empire, and the European nations may have reflected Noah's expansion blessing to Japheth. In addition, many medieval Bible maps showed the division of the world into Shem in the Middle East, Ham in Africa, and Japheth in Europe, further supporting the hypothesis that Japheth's descendants were the ancestors of the Caucasian people. History shows that European civilizations flourished and expanded globally. Some events that may be related to the expansion blessing given to Japheth include the development of Greece and Rome, two empires that had a profound influence on Western philosophy, law, and science. The spread of Christianity started with Israel, descendants of Shem, but grew most strongly in Europe. Exploration and colonization. Europeans explored and conquered many lands, from the Americas to Asia and Africa. Dominance in science and technology. Since the Renaissance, Westerners, descendants of Japheth, have made great achievements in science, technology, and medicine. These factors may reflect the biblical prophecy that Japheth would play an important role in world history, especially in territorial expansion and cultural influence. It is noteworthy that although Christianity originated among the Jews, descendants of Shem, it grew most strongly among the European peoples, descendants of Japheth. This may be related to the prophecy in Genesis 9:27 that Japheth would live in the tents of Shem, meaning that they would receive the faith from Shem's descendants. In the New Testament, Paul preached to the Greek and Roman regions, the two great civilizations of the West. As a result, Christianity grew to become the largest religion in Europe, influencing billions of people around the world. The second mystery is called the Mark of Cain, a historical mystery. The story of Cain and Abel in the Bible, Genesis 4:16, has led to much debate, especially regarding the mark of Cain that God placed on him after he committed the sin of murdering his brother. Some theories speculate that this mark may have something to do with skin color, even assigning a certain skin color to Cain's descendants. However, this explanation has no basis in Scripture and is mainly based on personal speculation or social prejudice. In Genesis 4:15, God marks Cain to protect him from being killed on his journey. The Bible does not describe what this mark is. It could be a physical mark, a change in appearance, or a spiritual symbol. The main emphasis of this mark is protection, not racial or genetic punishment. Many theories have emerged about this mark. Some believe it is a change in appearance, possibly related to skin color. Some groups argue that Cain and his descendants may have been a branch of the Caucasian ancestry. But this has no basis in the Bible and is purely speculative. Mystery 3, prophecy of the Western nations. Historically, the Western peoples, especially those of Europe and North America, have had a significant influence on the development of Christianity. Some Bible scholars believe that Western powers may have played a role in end-time prophecies, especially the descriptions in the book of Revelation of powerful nations and major world events. However, this understanding depends on each person's theological perspective and interpretation of the Bible. The book of Revelation contains many symbolic images of events that will occur during the end times. Scholars have linked several elements to the Western world. Powerful nations. Revelation 17:18 describes a large and wealthy empire, which some people associate with Western powers. Great wars. Revelation 16:14-16 refers to the Battle of Armageddon, where the nations of the world gather to fight. Some have suggested that Western powers may be involved in this war. The spread of Christianity. Some scholars believe that the spread of Christianity in Europe and North America is part of God's plan to prepare for the end times. There are different views on the role of the West in Bible prophecy. Pro view. Some believe that the rise of Western powers, along with the strong influence of Christianity, was not accidental, but was part of God's plan. Neutral view. Some scholars argue that the Bible does not explicitly point to the role of the West, and that speculations about modern powers may be inaccurate. Contra view. Some believe that assigning specific nations to prophecies may lead to a misunderstanding of the Bible's true meaning. Whether or not Western powers played a role in Bible prophecy remains a matter of debate. However, it's more important to understand that the Bible's message is not limited to any one region or nation, but is global. Regardless of what role the West or any other region plays in the end times, the most important thing is still each individual's spiritual preparation in their relationship with God. The next mystery to be solved is Paul and his mission to Europe. The Apostle Paul is one of the most influential figures in the New Testament, playing an important role in spreading the gospel to many lands. He preached in Greece, Rome, Asia Minor, and the Middle East, contributing to the development of Christianity. However, if we only look at the role of Europe in the history of the church and think that Christianity is a religion of Westerners, that is an incomplete view. In fact, Christianity is not the religion of a single nation or continent, but was formed and spread thanks to the contributions of many different ethnicities and regions in the world. Paul was not a European in the modern sense, but a Jew, born in Tarsus, now Turkey, part of the Roman Empire. He made many missionary journeys to Asia Minor, Greece, Rome, but also preached in the Middle East and North Africa. His letters to churches such as Corinth, Galatia, and Ephesus were directed not only to Europeans, but also to a diverse community living in the Roman Empire. This shows that from the early period, Christianity was not limited to a certain ethnic group. Although Christianity later became the dominant religion of Europe, in the early centuries the church flourished in Asia, North Africa, and the Middle East. Africa. Ethiopia was one of the first countries to accept Christianity. Acts 8:26-39. The city of Alexandria, Egypt, was also an important theological center, the birthplace of many great thinkers such as Augustine and Origen. Middle East. Jerusalem was the birthplace of the church, and the gospel spread throughout Mesopotamia, Syria, and Persia. Asia. Christianity reached India through St. Thomas in the 1st century, and China in the 7th century. It is undeniable that the support of the Roman Empire helped Christianity spread widely in the West. After Emperor Constantine accepted Christianity, in the 4th century, the religion became a pillar of European civilization. However, that does not mean that Christianity belongs to the West alone, because before that, it had a history of development in many different regions of the world. No, Paul played an important role in spreading the gospel, but Christianity is not a religion of a single ethnic group or a single continent. From the beginning, the church was global, with contributions from many peoples from the Middle East, Africa, Asia, and Europe. The development of Christianity was not the result of Westerners alone, but the result of God's broader plan for all humanity. The 5th mystery is Esau, the red-skinned man, and the descendants of Edom, a historical and ethnic mystery. In the Bible, the story of Esau is not only a story of two brothers fighting over the right to be the firstborn son, but also contains interesting details about his lineage and physical characteristics. Genesis 25:25 describes Esau as a child with red and hairy skin, a rare detail in the Bible that mentions the skin color of a character. Later, Esau became the father of the Edomites, a people living in the Seir region, now in Jordan. This has given rise to theories about the ethnicity and origin of the Edomites, especially the possibility that they may have had red or light skin, different from the ancient Middle Eastern peoples. Unlike other characters in the Bible who are not given specific physical descriptions, Esau is mentioned with two prominent characteristics: red skin, an element rarely seen in the Bible. Hairiness is nicknamed Esau, may have had a meaning related to hairiness. These characteristics make Esau a genetically distinct character from his twin brother Jacob, who had a more normal appearance. This raises the question: did Esau's descendants belong to a separate ethnic group? After giving birth to Jacob, Esau left his father's land and settled in Seir, an area in present-day Jordan. The Edomites, his descendants, became a powerful people, having many conflicts with the Israelites throughout biblical history. Some historical and anthropological theories suggest that the Edomites may have had red or light skin, reflecting Esau's physical characteristics. They may have been related to some groups of people who lived in the ancient Near East, or may even have been an ancestral branch of some later Caucasian groups. Relations with neighboring civilizations. The Edomites traded with the Egyptians, Chaldeans, and Arabian tribes. This may have led to them being genetically assimilated, but still retaining Esau's genetic characteristics. While there is no definitive historical evidence for the skin color of the Edomites, the unique depiction of Esau suggests that the Bible contains characters with distinct physical characteristics. It also reminds us that the history of Christianity is not about one single ethnic group, but is part of God's larger plan for all of humanity. The sixth and equally important mystery is the Greeks and Romans in the Bible. In the New Testament, the Roman Empire and Greek civilization play an important role in the historical context of Christianity. Rome was the ruling power in the land of the Jews, while Greece left a profound influence on philosophy, culture, and language. The Roman governor Pilate was the one who tried Jesus, and many of the lands where Paul preached were influenced by Greco-Roman civilization. The letters to the Corinthians, Galatians, and Ephesians reflect the interaction between Christianity and the Greco-Roman world. However, despite the prominent roles of Greece and Rome, the development of Christianity was not limited to the West. From the beginning, the gospel spread to the Middle East, North Africa, and Asia. The first church was established in Jerusalem, and long-standing Christian communities existed in Egypt, Syria, Ethiopia, and even Persia and India. This shows that Christianity does not belong to any one nation or civilization, but is God's calling to all humanity. The strong presence of Romans and Greeks in the Bible shows that white people played an important role in the historical context and development of Christianity. And that is the unity of peoples in the Bible, love and faith beyond racism. The Bible does not emphasize racism, but instead emphasizes faith, loyalty, and kindness. In many stories, relationships between different peoples are not only accepted, but also play an important role. This shows that love and fear of God are the deciding factors, not ethnic origin or skin color. A good example is Moses, the great leader of the Israelites, who married a Cushite woman, Numbers 12:1. According to many scholars, the Cushite could have been Ethiopian or from another part of Africa where the people were darker skinned. Despite the ethnic difference, the Bible does not condemn this marriage. On the contrary, those who criticized it, like Miriam and Aaron, were rebuked by God. This shows that God is not concerned with race, but with the heart of the person. Another example is the story of Ruth, a Moabite woman. According to Jewish law at that time, the Moabites were foreigners, but Ruth showed loyalty to God and the people of Israel. She married Boaz, an Israelite, and became an ancestor of King David, even being listed in the genealogy of Jesus, Matthew 1:5. This shows that despite her ethnic background, Ruth's loyalty to God made her an important part of salvation history. Through these stories, the Bible sends a strong message. God does not judge people by their race, but by their faith and character. Regardless of people's background or culture, the most important thing is love, loyalty, and fear of God. This is the spirit that the Bible always promotes, overcoming all ethnic boundaries to move towards a world of love and harmony.